From the darkest depths of the oceans to legends passed down for millennia, today I'll take you on a journey through the most terrifying sea monsters of mythology. Some you'll recognize, others will surprise you. From Japan comes the Isonade, a mysterious sea entity feared for centuries along the Japanese coasts. Invisible beneath the surface, it only emerges to strike with its hooked tail, dragging victims into the abyss. It is said that its passage leaves only blood and silence behind, a constant presence in the tales of Edo period fishermen. According to some legends, the Isonade makes no sound and creates no ripples in the water, making its attack all the more lethal and unexpected. Sailors believed that even its shadow could capsize a boat. Unlike other monsters that reveal themselves, the Isonade is pure invisible terror, a phantom of the deep that strikes and vanishes like a sudden wave. Iku-Turso is one of the most unsettling sea monsters in Finnish mythology. Sometimes described as a tentacled and monstrous creature, it is linked in the Kalevala to war, curses, and destructive forces. More than a simple beast, it represents a cosmic and menacing power. In one of the runes, it rises from the depths to generate a magical tree that produces weapons and fire until defeated by Wainamoinen. Some sources describe it with 1,000 heads and 1,000 horns. Kalevala, Runo 26, making its figure even more disturbing and inscrutable. The Cetus, a fearsome beast sent by Poseidon to destroy the coasts of Ethiopia, is one of the most classic embodiments of the Greek sea monster. Depicted as a gigantic sea serpent, it was confronted by Perseus to save Andromeda. Its name has become synonymous with sea monster and also appears in constellations, including the one that bears its name. In some versions of the myth, the monster was chained to a rock and left to devour the princess. Perseus, armed with Medusa's head, saved her in a heroic intervention. It represents the ancestral idea of oceanic and sacrificial threat, where beauty and innocence must be offered to the depths to appease divine wrath. On the northwestern Pacific coast, the tales of the Nuu-chah-nulth speak of Haietlik, a sea serpent with a lightning-shaped tongue. It is the living weapon of the thunderbird, used to pierce whales. A sacred and fearsome being, it combines the element of water with the destructive power of celestial lightning. According to some oral traditions, the Haietlik is not just a tool, but an autonomous spirit that collaborates with the thunderbird in the cosmic battle between natural forces. Its appearance among the waves is a sign of great upheaval. Its power is said to split clouds and sea with a single strike. It is one of the most powerful and revered symbols in the mythic ecosystem of the Northwest Coast peoples. In medieval times, tales spoke of a lush island that lured sailors with the scent of moss. But it wasn't an island. It was the Aspidochelone, a colossal creature, half turtle and half whale, that swallowed entire crews once they boarded. Its size was so immense that trees and plants grew on its back, deceiving even the sharpest eyes. Often associated with sin and damnation, it was a sailing metaphor for the devil, who tempts man with illusion and then leads him to ruin. A symbol of deception and perdition, it is one of the most enigmatic sea monsters of ancient Christian symbolism, appearing in bestiaries and moralistic texts as a warning to travelers of the sea and the soul. Considered by some modern sources as the Kraken's ancestor, the Hafgufa was a creature so massive it was mistaken for a rocky formation in the sea. It was said to open its mouth and wait for fish and even ships to enter on their own. First mentioned in the Konung's Skugga, the King's Mirror, 13th century, it is described as a natural marvel. Its identification with the Kraken was a later overlay, promoted by missionary Hans Egede in the 18th century and taken up by Bishop Eric Pontoppidan. Some marine biologists today suggest the myth may be based on real whale feeding techniques, such as, quote, trap feeding. She was once a beautiful nymph. Now she is Scylla, a sea monster haunting the Strait of Messina. She has 6 ravenous canine heads, a serpentine body, and tentacles that lash with fury. Each head grabs a sailor, each scream chills the blood. According to some versions of the myth, she was transformed into a monster by Circe, out of jealousy, or by Poseidon, as divine punishment, sealing her eternal doom. Her lair was a dark cave on a high cliff, from which she could snatch victims without warning. Famous for her role in the Odyssey, she represents the inevitable danger every traveler must face, a symbol of the inescapability of loss when confronting the unknown. On the other side of the strait lives Charybdis, a shapeless monster, a whirlpool that swallows and spews out the sea 3 times a day. Daughter of Poseidon and the earth itself, she is the embodiment of the sea's devouring force. Legend has it she was once a gluttonous woman who stole Heracles' cattle and was punished by the gods, turned into a sea monster. Her cyclical power to consume and regurgitate waters makes her a symbol of inevitable destruction, often tied to the idea of total ruin. No vessel can escape her entirely. Only those who avoid being sucked into her depths survive the eternal dance of chaos and salvation. Jörmungandr, the world serpent, is so massive, it encircles the entire earth, biting its own tail to complete the world circle. Son of the trickster god Loki and the giantess Angrboda, he is brother to the wolf Fenrir and the goddess Hel. He lies in the deep oceans, but his presence is felt through storms and earthquakes. According to Norse prophecy, he will rise on Ragnarok, when he will face Thor in a fatal battle. His coils shake the world, and his venom can poison even the sky. One of the most titanic and symbolic creatures in Norse mythology, he is the embodiment of chaos looming over cosmic order. The Leviathan is a colossal sea serpent or dragon, evoked in sacred texts as a symbol of primordial chaos. Mentioned in the Book of Job, the Psalms, and Isaiah, it represents an invincible creature created by God himself, one that only he can control. Described as a beast that breathes fire and makes the sea boil in its wake, the Leviathan has inspired generations of artists, theologians, and mythographers. It is not just a monster, but a manifestation of cosmic disorder against which divine order is tested. Its myth profoundly influenced Western culture, leaving its mark in medieval thought and apocalyptic literature. And at number 1, the Kraken. The colossal, tentacled monster of the northern seas, capable of sinking entire fleets with a single movement. Described in ancient accounts as so vast it could be mistaken for an island, it would rise with titanic force to drag ships and men into the deep. Though its roots lie in Scandinavian folklore, it gained fame through 18th century reports like those of Hans Egede, 1729, and Bishop Pontoppidan, 1753, who described it as a real horror seen by sailors. Some scholars link it to sightings of giant squids, yet it is in modern pop culture that the Kraken found new life, from cinema to video games, Gothic literature to comics. The Kraken is the ultimate emblem of oceanic terror, a symbol of the unknown and untamable depths of the sea. Which sea monsters struck you the most? Do you know of other forgotten creatures of the deep? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe for more journeys into mythology.